Hello everyone, welcome back to the table. What I wanted to do today was talk about my first Gundam kit. I'm very excited. So what we're doing is just kind of an introduction, a little bit of unboxing. Really, honestly, this is just a vlog entry as vlog can be. It's just me chit-chatting about stuff. So if you want to see construction, other things, yeah, that probably won't be this video. This is going to be why I even wanted to try this, because this is not anything on the channel like this at all. But because I am a hobbyist of all kinds of stuff, I thought, well, this would be a fun one to share and maybe talk about why I wanted to get into building some Gundam model kits. Because one, I've not watched any Gundam, except I did start on YouTube. There was a Gundam Build Divers cartoon. It's not the serious wargaming movie or anything like that. It's just kids that build models of Gundam and then they put them into virtual gaming machine thing, and then they battle out their assembled Gundams. And so, yeah, that's all I've seen of Gundam, really. And I haven't even seen this one. I know this comes from Char's Counterattack. So I had to admit, lore-wise, yeah, I'm not the best person to talk about the kits. So I apologize for that. But why? Alright, so we're looking at this huge box. I mean, this thing is huge. Like, there's my hands. This is a big box. And from what I've saw on other YouTube videos, this is one of the larger Gundam kits. Now, at least in the master grade quality, there's different quality grades. So I've been learning a lot about the Gundam modeling universe called Gunpla. And it's huge. And that stands for Gundam Plastics. Or, well, my understanding, that's what it means. It's like for the plastic model, so Gunpla. And they have different grades. There's like perfect grade, real grade, high grade, and master grade. Master grade seems to be about what I want to build at, and probably would do some real grade. So my next kit will probably be the Sazabi in a real grade. It's a smaller. So this is in a 1/100 scale, and then the real grade is about a 1:144 scale. Which means if you did, what is that? 144 is about 15 millimeter, I think. So you could have your giant Gunpla models in with your like Flames of War 15 millimeter scale kits. I think, if I remember, that's what 144 is. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyhow, so why in the first place? Well, it's just that I do like to collect figures. Like, as far as, you know, gaming wise, I do kind of like, you know, the occasional Space Marine looks kind of cool, Star Wars, and I got some Star Wars stuff. It's just, I'm not very good at painting, and one thing I thought was cool is for people like me, until you get into customizing it, they come with pre-colored plastics. And so if you have no painting experience, at least when you assemble your robot, it's kind of painted because it's got colors, and then you can just slap on decals. The other thing too is I do like posable. I don't have any with me, but I've given most of my action figures to my kid because I don't, you know, it's really hard. Like with some Star Wars figures, they're stiff, all the poses are straight, they have no articulation or very little articulation. And I used to get G.I. Joe, and they have a lot of articulation, but they don't really make a lot of G.I. Joe anymore. And then to get stuff that I like is pretty expensive. And so it just got to a point where it was like, man, finding articulated stuff is really difficult for you to do like poses and dioramas. And I don't know how I strayed into there, but when I was like looking through Amazon for action figures, as I wanted to get like some Black Series, like a Stormtrooper or something, somehow a Gundam came up. And I was looking at that going, yeah, that's kind of cool. And there's like a bunch, but it's a model. But I saw it pose, and I was like, well, shoot, you know, once you pose it, because it's a model kit, it sticks there. But what I didn't know, and after I just looked around because I thought the pictures were cool, is these are articulated model kits. So after you assemble it, you can pose it, and you can, you know, change it around. And they have a lot of movable pieces. And mostly I strayed towards the Gundam because I really liked Macross series as a kid, like Robotech. And those transformable mecha that they make are like very expensive. And I was like, well, shoot. But these kits which have articulation and movable parts and things are cheaper, about half the price. They can get expensive with the Gunpla depending on what you get. So anyway, long story short, it looked cool. So I was like, yeah, let's try that. So we got searching the internet, watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I didn't realize there's like a huge, I don't know what you call it, a following or a community. There's a huge community around Gunpla. And a lot of the models and things that people do in the modeling techniques are insanely cool. And I was like, man, well, there's only one way to get into that, and that's to get one. So this Sazabi one, I just thought looked way cool. I liked, it's just a huge bulk, and I said, yes, that's for me. So anyway, that's how we've got to this point. Thank you for watching that part. If you're with me, let's take a look inside. Now, I have one concern. When this came in the mail, it wasn't shrink wrapped. So I always get a little scared at that because I wouldn't begin to know what's missing. So hopefully it's not missing anything. But yeah, I just want to show you how huge the box is. Like, because that's what it says when you watch other YouTube videos. They're like, yeah, it's a huge box. And I'm like, okay. And then you get it and you're like, holy cow, that is an incredibly huge box. So these are some of my, like a 1/15 scale, or is this the 15mm or 1/44 scale tank? And I'm not saying that this is to scale the picture, but just this little kit. Normally in your hand, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. You're holding a Sherman, but this one kit dwarfs it. It's huge. Yeah, I don't have anything better for scale. If you're familiar with Tamiya, here's some Tamiya extra thin layer cement bottle. Again, for scale comparison, it's a huge box. Here's my hands. Not that my hands are huge, but alright. I've had to lift my camera all the way up just to try and fit this thing. Let's see, beam tomahawk, a beam saber, 2 beam sabers, and shield. Oh man, it's got so much stuff. The picture of the model cuts off what's the writing. Now it says constructor Anaheim Electronics. There may or may not be any electronics. That could be something not related to content, but yeah, alright, set the lid aside. So my fear is that there's missing stuff, but I don't know. Hopefully nothing's missing. It's a lot of plastic. That is very cool. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm just shifting. Alright, this is probably the most important thing of this experience, is the book. And that's kind of, I guess, what I was looking for. I wanted to make sure that the book was in here, because without that I'm not assembling anything. We'll zoom in a little bit later and take a look at the instructions, because these are thorough. Oh man, this is great. So this kind of like combines my love of assembling models. See, that's the thing, is I love building models. I like building tanks. I have some partially finished stuff laying around, but the thing I'm not very good at is the painting. And as you can see, you've got some colored plastics already. And the primary colors of this are like red, yellow. So you've got, you know, black for metal parts, red for the outer shell, body, and you just got to assemble it. Now I will say this though, I did buy some Tamiya panel line accent color. Normally if I do like shading, I'll use like Nuln oil, but I wanted to try this panel line accent, like to just get in and highlight the panel lines, because that's probably one of the first things that I've seen people do with their Gundam, as far as like modifying and, you know, eventually moving on to painting and really customizing them, is just dipping, you know, highlighting the panel. So I got an actual panel liner to try it out. And for the decals, because there's a decal sheet here, which we'll take out here in a little bit, and we'll look at the decals. There's a lot of decals, and so as you start to put the decals on, I was like, well, a lot of people I see, they use these 2 products. I've never used them before, but I thought if I was going to try this out, I want to try it somewhat seriously. So I've got Mr. Mark Setter. This you put down, like after you cut your decal out, and you dip it in water and you slide it onto the model. This setter, like you put a little bit where you want to place your decal, and that will help you like kind of slide it around in place, and it prepares the area for the decal. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And then once you have your decal in place, you take like a Q-tip, kind of wipe off the extra setter. Then once it's in place, you put a little bit of the softener. And the softener is like a very low-grade acid, is my understanding, and it kind of eats away the film, kind of the gluey film of the decal, and that way it gives the decal a look as if it's been painted onto your model. So normally when you apply a decal, you can kind of see the outlines of glue, and you can, if you look close enough, you can tell that that was a decal. But this helps to remove all of that glue. Then your decal just looks like it's just stuck right on it, like you painted it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try both of those things. So I figured with some panel liner and some decal, stuff, this should give me a pretty good introduction to kind of, making this look a little bit better, because I'm not going to paint it. I figure once I have experience of building some of these things, and then maybe I want to explore into painting, I'll give that a shot. Alright, so you got a rule book, and there's a lot of sprues. Now, I call them sprues from previous experience with model kit building, but I guess the correct lingo is these are runners. So there is some lingo. I need to get a sharper blade here. I got to sharpen this up. But they're called runners. Now I forget what some of the other, like I said, I'm brand new to this, so they actually have names for the pieces, and then when you cut pieces off with your clipper, the little, I call them nubs, where the connection points are, they actually have names for that. And so it's a, like I said, it's a very, very dedicated community, which I thought was incredible. What I liked was, there's several things that I liked as I was watching some videos, watching like championships. If you've not really looked at anything like this before, I suggest you go and look on like the Gundam World Builder Championships and just see some of the work that people put into customizing these things. It's beautiful. It's really, really cool. And so what I liked was, I watched a video, someone was like, doing an introduction to Gundam and Gunpla, and he said that, see, and this is probably what turned me off in the first place. I always thought Gundam was like a kid's thing, like for kids. And he said that actually is really for anyone. There's no age limit to it. Kids can do it, but what interested me was that a lot of the like world championships, all of the modelers are kind of like middle-aged to older, like my age. I was very impressed by that. I was like, oh really? So this is a very serious community, like I was saying, but it looks like a very supportive community. So I don't want to say that as in a negative way, like if you're not a big contributor or anything like that, you're not welcome. It looks like a very welcoming community, and it's really for all ages. So if you were not thinking of Gunpla as some sort of modeling option because you thought it was for kids, I'd say check it out again, and you'll find that there's some very, very serious modeling happening that at all ages. So I thought that was a very, very cool aspect. That made me feel less intimidated about getting into this, because my kid would be like, "Dad, you're playing with toys," but he understands I like to build stuff. So this is kind of like Legos for me. This is my Lego set. There's one more here. One more runner to unwrap. Now I will say that, first of all, if you're watching all of this, I really appreciate that. There are videos out there on YouTube where people have an editing process for unboxing and assembling these things that is absolutely amazing. Me, this is just a very laid back, just kind of looking through stuff with you, and so far it is a lot of plastic, and I've only unwrapped half of the runners, And yeah, I downloaded an app. It was a game, and it has like this little stand where you can lay your runners like this. I had them kind of, you can just lay them out. They stand upright, and you can just grab a runner as you want. And I didn't realize that's a real thing. So they make specialized tools for even helping in the assembly of your Gunpla. And then they got markers galore. I thought about getting some markers. So I bought the Tamiya panel liner before I picked up any Gundam stuff. But they make it is a marker, which is like a panel line marker. You touch the pin to where the panel line is, and the ink just kind of flows out. So I thought I might get that at a later time too, just to try out. Because I thought that was an interesting way to do it. I guess that's supposed to give you a little more control. So I thought, well, maybe one day I'll buy it, get the markers. But they make a lot of markers, and again, they make a lot of dedicated tools to help you. You can buy, like I just have some modeling stuff laying around because I've done, either wargaming models or larger scale models. But if you've never done any kind of model construction, they actually sell some kits that come with like some tweezers and some X-Acto blades and various things to help you cut items from the sprues. Oh, the phone just rang. Oh my goodness, parts everywhere. Let's see if that's important. Nope, light rain it's telling me. Yes, luckily I can see the light rain out my window, so thank you phone for the weather update. What do we got here? Right, now clearly I'm not zooming in to show you all the pieces here on the kits. I'm just pulling them out. But there's a lot here. And a lot of these are huge, so this is going to be a very large model once it's assembled. Die plastic. I have freed you. Oh yeah, so cool thing that I've learned, again with these, is I'm not sure about this one exactly, but a lot of these kits, what's cool is the parts can be very interchangeable with other kits, and that's another way you can custom build stuff, is you're not limited to, like once you build, a Sazabi, you can't take bits and pieces. Obviously you got to make sure they fit, and hopefully they make sense the way you're putting them together, but the kits, you can take them apart. Now I'm not saying you want to take it apart all the time, it's not like a Lego set, but it does, because what I've seen a lot of folks do is they'll build it, and then when they go to start paint it and things like that, they can take a lot of these pieces off and then mask them off, paint them how they want, and then reassemble it. So there is a little bit of give in there, so you can mix and match stuff. And what I also thought was cool is a lot of these, they have basically, it's like an inner frame. It's kind of like your posable doll figure, but then you attach and slap the armor on. That's why you can kind of customize these a little bit. And what I almost got, which if I really enjoy this kit, they actually make some very specific like photo etched parts for this Sazabi kit. I've seen there's like photo etched metal replacement, so where there's a lot of plastic representing metal pieces, you can actually get metal pieces that you can glue on to your Sazabi. Again, as part of your customization to it. And there are other kits like that too, so they make ways to really enhance. So this I don't think has it. I haven't seen it, and if it was supposed to be in here, then that's something I'm missing out of the fact that I've got my kit was not shrink wrapped, so maybe somebody took something out of it for another kit or something. But on some of these, they come with at least one LED light, so you can light up the head of your Gundam, your Gunpla. This one might not be that way. It might not. I thought that it could be, because the picture kind of shows a clear spot in the helmet and then the LED light. But if I look through the instructions, that may or not be the case. Yeah, and the articulation on these was incredible, which is another reason I wanted to get that. Because again, with action figures, you're limited by how much articulation they have, and not a lot of action figures have a lot of articulation. But these, I don't know, again, because I haven't built it yet, and I don't understand. Like, I'll tell you, when a lot of the Gunpla videos you watch are Korean or Japanese, and so sometimes it's hard to understand for me because I don't speak those languages. But I think on the hands even, yeah, here's a hand. Even the hands are articulated. Like sometimes they have, you can pose the hands. I was like, that's pretty amazing when you want to talk about how much articulation and freedom you have. Now just doing a quick peek to see if there was even any instructions on possibly inserting the LED light that I thought was supposed to be in here. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, LED. So the LED very well could be in here. It looks like the LED, if it is in here, it's just a very small part. So I very well could have already taken it out. And it might just be floating in the box now. But we'll see. Because it's not part of the decal and sticker sheet. Well, let's just take a quick peek here. Yeah. That might be, disappointingly, the one thing that I am missing. Because I don't see anything that resembles what could or would be the LED assembly. That is kind of a bummer. Yeah, that is kind of a bummer. Well, I think I'll be able to assemble it even without the LED because I think that's optional anyway. But I was really hoping that I could put that in. But speaking of LED, you can also get LED kits that will light up your entire Gunpla model, and those are pretty cool on some of them that I've seen. Well, I could be wrong, and very well there could still be an LED unit in here somewhere. But on my initial inspection of the box, I've got decals, the instruction booklet, I've got all the runners. Again, I hope it's all the runners, and if I am missing anything, until I know better otherwise, I think I am missing just the LED assembly. Yeah. And again, because my lack of experience with these, I wouldn't know. But that's why I was a little disappointed. I was kind of scared when I saw that the box came not shrink wrapped. But I mean, to be fair, even if it was shrink wrapped, someone could have taken the part out and then re-shrunk wrapped it. But looks like someone beat me to the punch on the LED housing. Well, you know, hopefully if I do find it, if it is in here, just really buried amongst everything, I'll let you know. Because what I plan on doing is because this isn't a normal thing that I do for the channel, I'm not going to have, I don't know how to edit the fancy videos that you see of like the speed builders and how they do stuff where they assemble this into like a 20-minute video. Probably not going to happen. I might just every once in a while assemble a few things and then come back and show you what I've done. Like, hey, here's a little update. Here's how it's fitting together is probably what I'll do. And then just kind of share that experience. But yeah, let me move this box here a little bit. I have a feeling me and this box are going to become very good friends. And let me bring in the camera. Let me shift down here so you can look at the book with me. Yes. Let me pull the camera back a little bit. There we go. Edge of the table here. Boop. I'm manually moving everything on my camera arm here. Alright, again, not very professional. Alright, so let's take a look here. This is the Neo Zeon MSN 04 mobile suit. They actually had a couple kits that I looked at, but they were more pricey. But they were like chrome coated, so this had like a really cool chrome robotic coating to it that I thought looked really cool. But I just went with the base one. And I believe that this particular kit is a few years old. Well, let's see, this says 2013, so I don't know if that's exactly when this kit came out. That would make it about 6 years old, and now we're hitting into 2020. So this is going to be about 7 years old, and I still think it's one of the coolest looking kits I've seen. So let's just flip through. So yes, the instructions are all in Japanese, and I have very little Japanese skill, so that means the instructions, I won't read them. I can't read the instructions. I know some katakana, but anyway, here it looks like this is showing you some cool features of it. Yeah, it had like a pilot capsule, so I had to try and paint the pilot and then stick him in there, and the pilot capsule goes somewhere here in the Sazabi. But it's got the pilot, and it's got the guy who's, I guess this is him outside of it, paint him red for char, showing what the weapon systems look like, how you can assemble the plasma swords and make an axe. It's got, yeah, see, here's the LED unit. I'm a little sad, actually. A little bit depressed. Maybe I can contact some. I wouldn't even know who to ask, but I don't know if anybody's got a spare LED out there for a Sazabi, or I don't know if those are universal among the Gunpla kits, but yeah, if you have a spare LED that you don't need, let me know. Maybe we can get me one. I don't know. I just feel like so let down that I can't find the LED in the box. Anyway, here's a summary then of all the runners that you get. Alright, and then into assembly. Starts with the body. Now, one reason I went ahead and got this, even though I can't read Japanese perfectly, is I'm told the instructions are very, very well done. And they do look pretty good. They do look good. And it's snapped together. That's something else, too, that I didn't mention. Why I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. No glue. Trust me, if you've seen any of my build videos with my resin and pewter kits and stuff, glue is just a hassle sometimes to work with. I mean, it holds stuff together, but this is all snapped together. It's just snapped together, and then you have your full articulation. Pretty much the big tools you need will be like your file for after you remove stuff from the runner, and your nipper to remove stuff from the runner, and then just snap it together. So the instructions do look very, very detailed. So I'll be able to find all the bits, stick it together. So here's lots of stuff regarding the body. Yeah, it's a lot. And the hand. Yeah, just look here. I mean, the hand is crazy articulated. You even make a clenched fist. It's showing. So that's super cool. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm just giddy looking at it here. So the body's got like the body, the head, arms, arm assembly, upper body, waist, legs. Yeah, well, what was interesting is as I was watching some folks who do their Gunpla, they were saying it would like take months to create. But what I didn't realize is it's months for some folks because of all the extra modifications they do. If you just build this thing, I have maybe read in comments or something that it takes a few hours, but if you just want to build it right out of the box, a few hours later you'll have your assembled Gunpla. So it really just depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish and how much extra effort you put into it, how long it will take to complete. And let's see the backpack. So bottom, backpack. Yeah, and plus there's enough here in English that, I can clearly see what's happening. Final assembly. Put some of the weaponry together. Looks good. Transformation system. So it shows you, how how some of the movable parts are. And that's what I thought was cool, is they're not just a static, once you're done, it's not a static model. You can pose them. It's not a toy by any means, but there is enough there for a hobbyist for making dioramas, posing them. Here's putting the pilot into the little glass cockpit that he sits in. I don't know if earlier that shows you how to put them in. I guess there's two options. There are two different seats he has, so I have to figure out which one I want. Yeah, again, that LED thing is gonna haunt me. Oh, poor me, poor me. Yeah, the little weapon system opens up and missile canisters pop out. Is that it? Oh, there's another page here. The backpacks, the skirting, the butt skirting, what the feet can do, the weapons, even they've got some articulation on them. I think they make a really cool looking weapon there. And then finally, where the decals go. Yep. And that's why I went ahead and got like the mark setter and mark softener. I was like, well, you know, if you're going to do decals, see how professional looking I can get that to be. There's a painting guide. So, you know, what I've seen is if you just assemble this, it looks like a plastic kit. But what's interesting is even if you paint this the exact same colors, painting the model just gives it a more realistic look. It's hard to explain, but yeah, if you paint it, here's a color guide to paint it. But again, that's what was cool is if you're just starting out, you don't have to paint it. Just assemble it and it already comes in these colors. Just put your decals on. And even if you don't want to get the mark setter and mark softener, you can just apply the water slide decals as is, just out of the box, and you'll still be okay, I think. You don't even have to panel line it too. Like I said, I just thought I would go and try a couple of advanced techniques here. But yeah, that's the Mobile Suit Sazabi, and I will, you know, every once in a while post some kind of step-by-step, well, maybe not step-by-step, but I'll show you the part that I'm working on, and maybe we can build that together and just kind of over time slap this thing together. Because like working the body has quite a few steps to it, so you know, we'll see what it's like. I would hate to make a video that's like 3 seconds long, like, hey, here's this part, but you know, maybe we could do several bits together or something like that. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, if you watch this all the way through, hey, thank you so much. You know, feel free to leave your thoughts. Do you do Gunpla? Do you have any building tips for those out there that might be seeing this for the first time? You know, so anything you'd like to share would be very, very, very appreciated. And yeah, I'll eventually, every once in a while, post you some kind of update video. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.